And obviously you're into this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean,
like that's what kicked this whole thing off, was you were enjoying making bourbon.
Absolutely. It's half science, half art, right? There's a recipe you got to follow, but within that, there's tweaks that you can make along the way that add your own flavor to it, right? That make it yours individually. And we, with those tiny skills, they're manuals, right? There's no automation at all. So you're pulling levers that will dictate the flavor profile that comes out on the other end. So learning on those tiny do-it-yourself stills really allowed us to play with flavor profile, proof, and just kind of overall experience of that particular spirit.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you get the doors open, things are going well, and what's the trajectory over the last 10 years been like?
Well, it's been wild. I can tell you that. I kind of talk in two terms. There's pre-COVID and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, the world really operated on a three-legged stool, right? You had beer, wine, and alcohol. And when we got into it, bourbon was on this massive upward trajectory, right? Everybody was watching Mad Men and wanted old fashions, and it was the cool hip drink. And a lot of other artisan distilleries were coming online, and it was just high growth, right? People couldn't get enough of it, and there's all these Easter egg bottles that are going on the secondary market for thousands of dollars. It was just an unbelievable time of growth. And we had a good story. So, right. Mm-hmm. So for us, in the bourbon world, I think that the ingredients that make a successful brand are you've got to have a good product, obviously, but you have to have a good story and be authentic. And I think that that's kind of what set us apart early on was, veteran owned, veteran made, and people wanted to support that. Right. And then COVID happens and everybody thinks the world's going to end, right? And at the same time, they're pantry loading, so sales are, still growing, but it shut down our tasting room. So in 2020, we had a budget built out for how we thought we were going to reach our sales goals for the end of the year. Well, they shut us down in February, I think, of that year, where, and if you would have asked me 30 days before, I was like, there is no way that there will be riots on the street if they shut down bars and restaurants. Mm-hmm. I was wrong. Mm-hmm. So within about 30 days, not even, we were one of the first in the country that we pivoted and said, we got all the ingredients to make hand sanitizer. We can keep the wheels on this thing moving. And so we totally shifted. We kept everybody employed, and we basically turned our event space that we were just getting ready to open into a hand sanitizer factory. So we had totes of vodka that we were adding denaturing flavoring to, and what made it hand sanitizer.
Wait, what's denaturing?
It's so you can't drink it. It'll make you throw it up.
Got it.
Which I was like, I can't believe we have to add this.
That hurt your soul to do.
Well, there are people out there who are actually drinking this to get high, instead of, I was just like, man, that is intense. But we started giving some away. We started selling some, and the bell curve on this was intense. We became a hand sanitizer company for about 90 days, and then it was over. Mm-hmm. And I said, look, we got to cut this off because this is going to go away. Everybody's in panic mode right now, but it's going to end.
Did you do well in the 90 days?
Very well.
I would think that hand sanitizer was in high demand.
Well, everybody was out. The big guys did not have the reserves. That they were not expecting this. And again, it was that panic buying. So everybody was like, I got to get hand sanitizer and toilet paper.
Or I'm going to die.
Right. I got to be able to wipe my ass and wash my hands. And this is the only way to do it. So yeah, we did very good, but then we immediately shifted back to, okay.
Did you shift back before the demand signal dropped? Were you kind of ahead of it? Or were you like, oh, wait, no one wants our hand sanitizer anymore?
We were before, but we had made enough to where the residual was going to carry on, but we're like, we cannot continue doing this. Mm-hmm. This is not our business.
Because you knew Johnson & Johnson and whoever else was going to get caught up, and then you'd be screwed.
Absolutely.
And no one wants to buy artisan hand sanitizer.
Well, there's just no need for it, right? That was, again, where I thought this is going to end, and we do not want to be stuck with so much inventory that we can never give it away.
And so then what happened after that? How long did it take before they were allowing you to open up the restaurant or the tasting room?
It was 6 months. We were shut down, and we were, trying to figure out ways. We sold cocktails to go in pouches, like, the old high C pouch. Indiana went through just kind of a weird, sometimes then we could do it with masks. We had to create outside areas. So we were kind of taking what the defense gave us as far as like, okay, if we're allowed to do that, then we can do that. And if they haven't said we can't do it, then do it until they say we can't do it. So there was a little bit of that, but always, trying to stay within the square lines of like, okay, this is no go, this is go. And again, sometimes those were changing on day-to-day basis, right? So the ROIs for that were changing. Also trying to not become so distracted within that period of time to lose focus on what our core business was.
Did you have to take on more capital, or did you guys get to a point where you're kind of profitable and you're making money and you don't need to bring in more?
Well, our goal is, grow. So, we've raised capital several times over the last 10 years. And we're very close to cash flow positive and getting to a spot where it's more sustainable. That's also what really has changed in the last few years is what a strategic would be looking for in a artisan distillery to bolt on. Before COVID, it was growth at all costs, EBITDA be damned. We just care about your top line and that you've got enough barrels behind you that we can plug you into our system and take you from 50,000 cases to 200,000 immediately. Since then, there's this perfect storm. So since COVID, several things have happened. RTDs have been introduced to the market, so they're ready to drink high noon. Marijuana has basically it's legal in 25 states plus now. Indiana.
And they've got marijuana drinks now, apparently.
Yeah. So Indiana.
I just saw a Wall Street Journal article about that. It's
going to be huge. It will be $1 billion industry if it's not already. Abstinence. So Gen Z, they don't drink, they don't drive, they don't screw, they don't do anything.
That's my kids. My kids are like, because I got older kids and they're Gen Z. And what's after Gen Z? Gen A. Back to Gen A. But yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of the new thing. They're not drinking. They're super healthy. They're like on the weekends, let's do ice bath saunas. And that's like how we get crazy. Like factory reset in the sauna. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of, and I'm not just talking about my kids, like all their friends.
Yes.
Well, not all their friends, but many of their friends the same way. They want to be smarter. They want to be tougher. They want to be like in better shape. They want to be healthy. And so they ain't drinking bourbon. They don't even drink like freaking pasteurized milk. If it's not raw milk, we're not putting it in our body. We want that raw milk. So yeah.
Well, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I know.